Just before we get into the podcast, I'm going to ask you to do me a favour and hit subscribe. Why am I asking you to hit subscribe? Well, it's because more people like you will get to hear the content and they will then be able to build their coaching business just like you. It's nice to be nice, isn't it? Thanks for listening and subscribing. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Crack to Kick-Ass Coach. Today, I have Jennifer Neal, who is the founder of a beautiful coaching company called Story Strands. Hi, Jen. How are you today?
Hello, Rebecca. Very well, thank you.
Good. Thanks for being here. Just before we came on, we were talking about how I've just come back from a yoga retreat, and you were saying, Jen, that you've done loads of these things with lots of interesting groups of women. It was only the second time I'd done anything like that in the past 8 years. So what kinds of things have you done? Because this will lead us, I think, into where we need to go for this.
Yeah, well, I think this is all part of sort of exploring, h- probably exploring aligning myself back to myself, and and
Right.
and so I think that's really how it started. And I've done everything. I've
Right.
done I've done juice retreats, I've done yoga retreats, and I'm not really big on yoga. And I've done singing retreats, I've done creative writing retreats, and but each time I think you meet such amazing people that are just it's like sort of meeting people in a carriage of a railway, um, just strangers, striking up the conversations, and yeah, you can get to some crazy places with it.
You
It's good.
can. After this, I'm gonna ask you about creative writing retreats because that's
Mm.
next on my list.
Uh-huh.
So let's roll back a bit. Why did you need to find yourself? What had happened in life to get you to that point where you went, I don't know who I am anymore. I need to find myself.
Yeah. Well, I think I've done an awful lot of running away from what that is, and
Okay.
so I've had a long career of changing things and starting again, and always making perfect sense to me, but it was actually really quite disruptive over living in Australia, back to London, back to Australia, in Japan, back to London, back to Edinburgh, and always yeah, so probably doing an awful lot of running away, and it wasn't really until I came back to Scotland and started up my company then called Tall Poppies, and that I I really felt that very disconnected to who I was and what I was doing, and really quite unsettled. And that rolled into another period of my life, which is another transition, and and um and I realized there was really quite a big gap, and I probably led into burnout. I had to one marriage ended,
Right.
and I just felt that I needed to rebuild from scratch, and so that's exactly what I did. And I started doing some other things that weren't to do with professional work at this time, and so
Okay.
it was about developing property and doing Airbnb and stuff like that, and and so one thing led to another, but I've actually always been coaching. I mean, I've coached for years and I've been teaching for years. And so I had to deeply look back at what this was. And so I had my own coach at the time, and to try to find out actually who this person was, because but this time I had actually lost all strands of it. And and through that it became really obvious to me what that journey was, and I started building further and further, and then I did my own certification on coaching, and then
Mhm.
I arrived and thought, hey, I'm a coach now, and then realized I had actually no clue how to actually coach or what to do with it, and that was 6 years ago. And so a lot of soul searching, and it all started again, and more layers had to peel off, and that I sort of had to think about it again, and about where I was in this business, as opposed to where I've been in previous businesses. So Story Strands is really the culmination of all of that, and I think it takes every part of me, going way back, and all the skills and experience and probably personality that I've got, and put it
Mhm.
into what I'm doing with Story Strands and what I now help support clients
Wow.
with.
That's amazing. I think what you've said there will resonate with so many
Mm.
people. So you were on a path, you were on a track. Was that original track, Jen, something that you had chosen to do or something that you thought you should be doing?
I think I've always chosen what I'm doing,
Okay.
but the problem with it was I wasn't coming at these choices from any informed position. It was a lot of
Ah,
enthusiasm and a lot of spontaneity, and
okay.
if I was looking back at my own sort of strands of my story,
Yeah.
it was running away a lot of it and not really facing up to probably some difficult things that I was needing to sort of sort out in my head, which is
Okay.
probably about commitment. And so everything I chose to do were all interesting things. I mean,
Right.
but they're all of a point. They're all quite creative. They're all actually developing content in some shape or form, way
Mm,
back. Always working with people and and always with a bit of spirit of an adventure and kind of what could ever happen. So, but I never stuck at it. I always ended up changing for some reason
right.
or another.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it really.
It's interesting, isn't it, that you are now using that experience to help your clients to draw on their strands of their story and
Mm.
pull that together in a way that makes sense for them. Um, and you're only able to do that because you've experienced it yourself.
I think that's exactly right. And so when I was looking, coming into coaching, what am I going to do and who's my ideal client going to be?
Mm,
I realized I realized lately that you can't think this out. They actually come to you.
mm,
And all my clients have got some sort of resonance with my story in some shape or form. And they come to me because probably because of exactly who I am.
mm,
And they are on that same road at some on some level.
yeah.
So it's sort of no accident in a way. And yeah, it always amazes me. And I learn as much from clients as clients would learn from me.
Yeah.
It's a total exchange. It's an energetic exchange. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And that's an important thing for the coaches out there to remember as they're busy worrying about, what to call their coaching company or what colors to pick for their brand or, how to position themselves. You're right. People, if you lay your stall out of what you offer, and that comes from the heart and your experience, people who resonate that with that will find you, and it doesn't really matter what color your logo is or how fancy your website is. People will absolutely find you, and if you hit a chord with them, they will go, that's the person I need guidance from or help from or coaching from, whatever label we want to call it. Yeah, that's
I
brilliant.
think
That's a
that's exactly right, but you can't be doing it from a kind of a purposeful thing for a business reason. I mean, of course, there's a business in it, and
yeah,
we're all in business, but the motivation has to come from somewhere else, and
yeah.
it's I don't think I realized that at the beginning, and
Mhm.
I was speaking to I've actually got an Airbnb guest staying with me at the
Mm.
moment who's a young counselor, and
Wow.
again trying from Germany and trying to sort out what she's doing with her business and is struggling with that imposter syndrome bit at that stage. And it was really interesting because she's got a really interesting story and she's not leading with the story. And she's wondering who her clients could be, but actually her clients are in fact exactly like her.
Yeah.
If she could be vulnerable enough to resolve her own story and realize that the gold is in her story, not in something else outside or some framework or something.
Yeah, you're right. And let's talk about that vulnerability because that's scary for a coach when you first starting out. For
Yeah.
some people anyway. How did you overcome that, Jen?
Oh my goodness, yes. It is dreadful. Dreadful. Even doing this podcast is absolutely terrifying.
Oh,
Or
you're
would have
doing
been, or
great.
would have been years ago. But how did I get over the vulnerability? I think I just had to own it.
Mm,
It's what I take clients through actually is mapping their story and
right.
it's in the story behind the story and which is why it's story strands, but it's looking at that story and once you really see. your own story and you can really accept it and feel tremendous pride in that story and the beauty of it and the uniqueness of it. I think it's very easy then to start to talk about it in a way it is vulnerable, but it's vulnerable in service of others. And so I started writing on LinkedIn because I found that was my thing to do, and I found I really enjoyed it. Not doing therapy in public, I hope,
Yeah.
but to be talking specifically around some themes that I wanted to talk about that would be that I could do on LinkedIn. So
I, I
so
loved
that
your
would
camp.
resonate with, and I generally write a story on LinkedIn to somebody that's I've got in my head.
Ah,
It's somebody I might have met, or it might be a client that I've got.
that's
They don't know
interesting.
what it is, or it might be a something, but I'm writing to a person probably that I wanted to say.
That's lovely. I love the one you did about the camper van and everything broke on it. And you're on, was it Harrison Lewis or Orkney? I can't
Yes,
remember.
yes, it was. Yeah.
And everything broke on it. And I love the way you wrote about that because it could have been a complete disaster, but you made it into such a beautiful story. It was great.
It was always yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. And are you, so I can understand now how you're supporting clients to unpack the story. And I adore this idea that you're proud of your story, warts and all. I just think that's a great concept because, again, last week on the yoga retreat, the women there were completely owning what they'd
Yeah.
gone through in life, and you can't get to, the age range was 44 to 75, and you can't get to that stage in life without having experienced life and all its crap that it throws at you. And every single one of them was owning it and going, yeah, that happened, and I'm now here, and I'm standing, and I'm smiling, and I'm laughing, and I'm enjoying life. And it's great that you're able to do that for your clients. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think it is owning that story, but
mm,
it's not even just that. It's I think it's just that doing that inner work or accepting yourself. I mean, I think all roads lead back to that self-love bit.
mm,
And if you don't face into that and really have it, which is owning your story and owning all the messes and bad behaviors that you've done over your time and for all your reasons or whatever it's happened. But no, but regardless, you are where you are,
yeah.
and and the going forward is an absolute choice as to how that's going to be. I mean, I'm in my mid 60s now, and
Wow.
I cannot hardly believe that I've got this old. But but I but I think there's a real wealth in that age as well because I'm just starting out again. And I mean,
Yeah.
retire. Couldn't possibly think about retiring. I'm actually way too busy to ever think about that because I would retire to what, and
Yeah.
so I'm working with people that are coming at these transition points. Maybe it's in their early 40s or maybe it's slightly later or even it's slightly earlier, but for whatever reason, there's something that they want more of,
Mm,
and so the people that I work with are looking for something more,
yeah.
and I will guide them back to looking first at themselves and their identity and who they are to there before they start thinking about what they could make a plan for, because we need to do the foundational bit first.
Yeah. You do.
Tired of being a lonely coach? Well, don't be alone any longer. Join us at tricrest.com, tricres.com. Find all the models, frameworks, PowerPoints, tools you're ever going to need as a coach, help on marketing, selling, and position yourself as a coach, plus a lot of other great kick-ass coaches are in that community. We'll see you there, tricres.com. Bye.
Do. That's something else I want our audience to be aware of. So let me get this correct. You're in your mid 60s now. So you started out in coaching in your late 50s?
Yes, I did.
About
Yes, I
right.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at a time when a lot of people are thinking of hanging up their boots and, going off on world cruises and things like that, you were starting again.
I was starting again. Yeah.
Wow.
And I've always felt that this is my this is where it all comes together, and I can
Right.
actually almost feel that this chapter is coming together for me, and I have never been more excited. And I mean, and I'm meeting the most incredible amount of people in all walks of life. I mean, I meet them a lot through Airbnb, and they become people that I do something else with. So this whole kind of serendipity of collisions and meetings, I think, is really interesting.
Yeah.
And if you confidently step into that and you just take what it is that's coming, and you just sort of throw yourself into the world, if you like, rather than try to control it or plan it or have an outcome for it. Life can be so much more joyful, and I think that's true at any age. If I had my time again, I'd be a lot less worried about, finding the man, trying to have the family, etc., because really it was all out of my control anyway. So
Anybody listening to this, I want you to just rewind the past 3 or 4 minutes and listen to that over and over again, because that is gold dust, absolute gold thing. That encapsulates, Jen, everything I think most people wish they'd have known in their early 20s. Just right there.
just right there.
Yeah.
You think you can control it all, and you're. I mean, the very idea that people are actually saving for a pension. I mean, of course we need to save for a
Yeah.
pension, but as if that was some final point that you're going to arrive in your 60s, and I keep thinking, but retire to what? I mean, what are you
Yeah.
going to use? How do you want to spend your time? It doesn't stop you being. It doesn't stop you doing. You're not dying at that point. Let's
No.
hope. And
No.
so what? Who are you becoming? Who are you becoming at that point?
Yeah.
And I think, in my experience, if you don't work this stuff out in your 40s or in your 30s and 40s, you surely will be trying to work it out in your 50s. And if you haven't got it sorted in your 50s, you definitely will need to know it in your 60s, because the point is you'll arrive at an end point and you won't know who you are and you
Yeah.
won't know what to do. Um,
Yeah.
so work it out earlier,
Yeah.
and then have more fun.
Yes, have more fun. I've been listening to a Deepak Chopra book,
Yeah.
and he has a little quiz about your inner child.
Mm.
Um, and I answered his questions, and it turns out I am very much in touch with my inner child and probably
Yes,
have
I've always thought that about you.
way too much fun doing this and
Yeah.
don't take it too seriously and, enjoy myself. And
Yeah.
yeah, you can grow businesses, you can grow your career, you can reach the
Yeah.
top of the tree and have fun at the same time. Don't wait to be happy, don't wait to have the fun. Do it now. You can do both. There's too many people that get to retirement age and then retire and then quite simply drop dead because they've just stopped. They've
But I
not,
think purpose is a really big thing in
yeah,
this. I mean, and that's really probably what I'm talking about, finding, what makes you tick, who you are, and what's the point of view actually.
yeah, yeah,
And so I think you need to know what the point of view is quite early.
yeah.
And by that, I mean purpose. I mean, what's going to light you up? And before we start thinking about, the next big promotion, the next big opportunity or whatever, because of course that matters too.
Mm,
But yeah, it starts with yourself.
yeah, it does. What's your purpose then?
My purpose, well, my
Yeah.
purpose is probably, yeah, where am I going to go with this? I've got a book in me.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I'm, yeah, I'd like to do more writing,
Good.
and more communicating.
Good.
But my purpose is really just about, I think I've always wanted to be this kind of inspiring modern elder. And
Nice.
And that's where I see myself growing into trying to do more of, and more community, more connection, and probably more travel. Mm.
Nice. Because you're going away again soon, aren't you? Where's your
Yes,
next
I am.
adventure?
Yeah, I am actually off to Spain on a little adventure, but that's one of those little bits. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
nice. That's lovely. And where's on your hit list for adventuring? Where would you love to travel to that you've not yet gone to?
Well, I've traveled a lot because
Mm,
of living in Australia for so long. But I've got very attached to India at the moment,
right.
and
Nice.
I met some. some people about 10 years ago, some Indian people that, through Airbnb stuff,
Mm.
and they became friends. And I've
Mm.
been out in India quite a few times, spending time with this family
Wow.
and their wider family. And I was at a wedding there last year, and I think there's a lot of India that I'd like to explore. That's more,
Wow.
and the Middle East always fascinates me, but of course, politically, it's obviously not where we're going to be
No,
perhaps
it's a bit
hanging out.
tricksy.
Um, but yeah, I'm interested in anything that's a little bit quirky.
Mm. Yeah, nice.
And for where
Where
people are a little quirky.
Yeah, well, yeah, I love
Mm,
India. I've only been to India once, but I really enjoyed my
mm.
time there. I found the
Really interesting.
energy uh completely captivating. The
Yeah.
energy of that nation is off the scale. I
It's
don't know.
incredible, isn't it?
I don't, yeah, and I don't know what it is that's different about the energy there, whether it's the size, the scale. I have no idea, but energetically, it's just like hits you like a huge tidal wave. But it's I found it very
I think they're
positive.
more I was actually having a conversation with an Indian guy yesterday about this
Right.
very
Oh wow.
topic. And it was about I think it's all to do with the groundedness
Okay.
of that culture, and
Right.
grounded in a mixture of progressiveness and also religion and faith and family and tradition, but it's coupled with other things. And we were talking about how the young people are growing at the moment, and their fear is that they're going to lose the tradition in the same
Mm,
way as they see has happened in the UK and
okay.
in the West,
Okay.
and how they manage to send their kids over to places in the West to be educated and not come back having lost that moral compass is where they see. And so we had a conversation about that because I think that a lot of what's going on in India and the energy we see is because they're all very safe. They're not looking for something. Or when I say
Mm,
safe, I mean safe in their own in their there's a strong sense of belonging to something.
okay.
They're not on their own, and I think that, and because of that, they have less influence on social media and that sort of thing, or they think
Mm,
they do.
mm,
Was this one, in the um, yes, the authority of one person, of course,
yeah.
but that was the conversation. I thought it was really interesting because that
Yeah.
vibrancy and that energy that you're talking about. I mean, we just don't see it in the middle of Edinburgh. Not apart from the festival, but I mean, we don't really see it.
Yeah, we can't have the festival all year round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's still true, but I know for a while India didn't allow TikTok. I don't know whether that's allowed or
Oh,
not.
right. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I think that's not the case now.
Right, okay.
Mm,
Yeah, it's really interesting that cultural identity. Maybe, yeah, you're right. It is very powerful in India,
mm.
that cultural identity, and I think
Yeah.
that is missing in the UK, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Where are you taking Story Strands? What's on the horizon for you?
Um, I'd like to be ending up with I mean, I just do one-to-one coaching at the moment,
Yeah.
but I I would like to see this as being um something that is actually in a lot more people's radar. So group
Okay.
programs, things that people could be doing from a corporate or something like that. But I just think it needs to be more accessible. This kind of way of looking at life and looking at how we could, from understanding our past story, we can actually make very sensible decisions about where we're going next.
Hmm.
That is coming from a completely different place. It's coming from within rather than out with.
Nice. Yeah,
So
I love that.
I'm keen to be I'm keen to be growing that, but I don't really know. I'd like to collaborate with more people. I'd like to be writing a book that could probably have a program with it. So
Nice.
that's really I'm up for anything. So
Good.
mm.
Good.
And
Well,
as I grow with it, uh, my clients grow too. So
yeah.
because I think we're all a work in progress. I don't think any of us have arrived. So.
No,
Um,
none of us. No, no, not. And that was reinforced very heavily last week on the yoga retreat, was
yeah.
that this is practice. That this isn't doing yoga, this is practicing yoga. And I
Yes.
think we're practicing life, aren't
Oh, I
we?
love that thought. Yeah. Yeah, we are absolutely practicing, and it gives us permission to get it wrong as well.
Yeah.
We're just practicing, and we're all doing that, and we're all learning from each other, and the connection between us is so tight, really.
Yeah.
Um, if we would, if we just get into the flow of that, I think.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. So,
Mm.
Jen, my last question. If you knew you only had a year left to live on this planet, what would you do differently over the next 12 months?
Wow. Do you know, I think I wouldn't be doing very much different
Right.
than I'm doing at the moment. Um, I think I would move house. There you
Oh,
go.
right. Okay.
I'd live by the sea and I'd have a dog again. But
Nice.
but really, I just don't think I'd be doing very much different than I'm doing now. Probably doing more
No.
travel, but that would be it.
Oh, amazing. That's lovely. Well, that shows you're on the right path.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
also shows that you have created a coaching business out of all the ups and downs you've experienced in life.
Mm.
You know, the
Mm.
travel, the getting it right, getting it wrong. I love your honesty about, maybe it was lack of commitment that was
Mm.
causing you to switch and change so much. And you've brought all of that experience together and you're able to show. And what was that phrase about the elder wisdom? Is that your phrase? Elder wisdom?
Well, modern elder.
Yeah.
And modern elder is actually an American thing. There's a guy called
Okay.
Conley that used to be a hotelier that started doing the Modern Elder Academy. But I've always thought
Okay.
that term was very lovely because
Yeah.
I don't think that older women particularly are have a place in society as well as we
Mm.
should do actually.
Yeah.
And I think this idea of this modern elder within our communities, I think it's a really important place to be, and it's perhaps slightly what's missing. And maybe if we're going back to look at the India example, it's
Mm.
what they do have. There
Yeah.
is matriarchal women within their communities, and we're often missing that. So I
Yeah.
think it's a really important position.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Mm.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you so much, Jen, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank
And
you.
where can people get hold of you?
Yes, through my website,
Yes. Go on then.
www.storystrands.co.uk,
Perfect.
or get in touch with me through LinkedIn. I'd
Yeah,
love to hear from anybody, and always happy to have a chat and see if it
brilliant.
fits or not.
We'll put your website on the show notes and we'll put your LinkedIn link to you on the show notes as well. So people will be able to get hold of you. And yeah, I think you're doing a great job. Wonderful.
Thank
Well
you.
done. And thank you so much for today, Jen.
Oh, thanks for having me. Okay.
Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We hope you got true value out of it. And if you did, what would be lovely is if you could leave us a 5-star rating. Why 5-star? Well, that helps the algorithm. And as we all know, the algorithms rule the world. So if you've enjoyed it and you've got value out of it, give us a 5-star rating so other people can enjoy it too. Thanks. See you next time.